based on what you see going on in America today, do you believe that the politicians and corporations of this country have your best interests at heart? And are you completely trusting of their motives and their behavior? Or do you believe that the reason that politicians somehow are getting rich 4 years into office is because they are profiting from doing the wrong thing? You don't get any extra money for doing your job. You're already paid to do your job. So what do you get extra money for? Well, if a corporation would make another $1 billion if they didn't have to comply with some environmental regulation, and you're willing to vote or to launch a campaign to change that law, then you certainly could make a lot of money. So, as America becomes more and more only concerned with what makes money and evaluates whether or not you're successful only based on whether or not you have made a lot of money, because there are plenty of people out there that are miserable even though they are fabulously wealthy. And I think you can kind of spot these people, because these people, just like people who aren't original in their lives being poor, these people do the stereotypical rich thing. They have no original idea on what to do with all that success. So they do the yacht, they do the multiple houses. And I live in an area where some of those houses are. Aspen is about an hour away, and I can tell you that the bulk of those people that own those houses, which are empty, by the way, in the middle of a housing crisis nationwide, but also specifically here, those houses are empty, and yet they're still being heated, and they're still having their lights turned on through their automated lighting systems. And so we're the problem, though. Normal people driving an older gasoline car, we're the problem. It's fine for them to have multiple houses that they can't occupy at once. And, it's not fine for us just to have one house. In fact, we should own nothing and be happy, according to what I hear on the internet, which is full of shit. And so we're just being gaslit at a national level through social media platforms, through the way that I'm talking to you right now, through your phone. Your phone has become one of the most powerful tools because you carry it with you everywhere. It's always connected to their network, to their system, because make no mistake, the internet and the associated programming that is on it is fully endorsed by the government, because the companies behind it make up the bulk of the S&P 500, which is the 500 most valuable countries in the United States. And so clearly, if those 6 companies have all the money, then the politicians are going to do what they want. So those companies basically run the government. They have their hand right up their asses, and they're dictating the terms of your life. So if you feel like life has gotten better since 2010, then that's your opinion, which is great, and I'm happy for you. But I think for most Americans, things have not gotten better in a very long time. And I think for a very long time, and maybe in the last 10 years, I've started to feel that instead of technology getting better and making my life better and more efficient, it's just being used to extract more control over me. So now if you buy a new car, you can't dictate whether or not you buckle up your seatbelt, I have a friend who just bought a new car, and the seatbelt dinger actually turns down the radio. And it used to be you could decide, oh, I don't want the newest firmware on my phone. I don't want to update to the new OS because it fucks the battery up and it's full of bugs and it makes my life a living hell. You used to be able to decline those, and now there's a lot of applications that just stop working. So even though you pay $1,200 for your phone, or you pay $50,000 for your car, you don't actually own it. And that is what they truly mean by you will own nothing and be happy. They never said you won't pay for anything. You'll pay for it, but you won't truly own it, because these electronic systems that they're building will allow them to turn it off if they don't like what the fuck you're doing, or if you don't pay. They'll just shut you off on the side of the road. I saw it happen to a trucker just the other day, and he posted a YouTube about it. He put his 2 weeks notice in, and the company just remotely shut his truck down when he was in Ohio, and he had to find his own way home. And if we go to a CBDC, central bank digital currency, and you think that that's going to be good for you, that's the gateway to slavery. I mean, we're one step away from chipping our brains. I think Elon Musk is a contradiction at times, because on one hand, he wants free speech and freedom, but on the other hand, he's considering chipping people's brains, which again will give the electronic system access to your physiology, your body, your physical existence. And what if they could turn that chip off? And what if it's crucial? Because what they're doing with it initially is actually reconnecting people's brain stems to their central nervous system when they've had spinal cord injuries. That's how they're excusing the deployment of it. Just like they'll probably excuse the deployment of electronic car systems and sell you that as a benefit. They'll be like, oh, well, if your car gets stolen, we'll be able to get it back no matter where it is. Okay, well, if you piss them off, and they being the people who have access to that system, I believe that most electronic systems in the United States have a backdoor for the government at this point. Same as China. China's just more open about demanding it, and the United States tries to deny it. One of the things that indicates this to me is the fact that the TikTok issue is specifically against TikTok and not against privacy rights in general. And I think they'll undermine their own ability to spy on us if they pass privacy legislation, making it so that your private electronic data is your own. They don't want to do that. They don't want it to be yours. It's valuable. It's a valuable tool in manipulating and understanding your behavior. So your electronic data is not your own. And there's a whole bunch of electronic rights in this ecosystem that we have never demanded, because most people don't understand how they're going to be deployed against us. So I've been concerned about metadata harvesting that's occurred since the advent of the internet for a very long time. I just didn't think AI, which is going to make that huge, massive pool of data actually useful, was going to be here so soon. So now that AI is here, AI will be able to parse out and find every piece of content, every photograph, every video through the facial recognition technology that is clearly being used by law enforcement and other things like unlocking your phone. They will be able to find everything you've ever done on the internet using AI. Now they're busy doing other shit, but AI's not. AI can be deployed for specific purposes, and one of those purposes will be to organize and understand all that data that they have stored, that they've been sitting on, that is too much of a task for a human being to understand. But this machine, which is simply a prediction engine at this point, which is, I mean, most successful human beings are honestly just a prediction engine, and they're better at predicting the future and preparing accordingly, making decisions according to what they believe will happen in the future. So the fact that this is becoming automated, and even a dumb rich person will be able to manipulate the world through the use of a tool that will bring intelligence to the masses. So if I wanted to make a movie, I used to have to learn about making a movie. Well, text to video technology is going to make it so that I, someone with no knowledge of filmmaking, could produce a feature-length presentation. If I am able to write a synopsis of a story, give it the key components of the mixture, the beginning and the end, and the characters, and tell it, create me a movie, that means that I could be a filmmaker. That means that Hollywood and all the brilliance in that whole ecosystem it'll be rendered obsolete overnight. And that's going to happen in a lot of different industries for a lot of different people, including the people that want to manipulate a certain outcome out of a group of people using the power of statistics. Because believe it or not, groups of people, individuals are hard to predict, but groups of people can be predicted. And this is proven through the science of statistics. So if you believe the science, then you should believe the statistics. And if you don't think that AI is already being used to control what you see, then you are delusional. AI is scrubbing YouTube and other platforms as we speak because it's now able to recognize on its own undesirable content that goes against the broader agenda. These rich people are sharks. These billionaires are sharks. They eat you and they eat their own. They are the apex predator. They are not just letting whatever information. This is where we are right now. Has not happened as a result of an accident or chaos. It is their desire to reach an endpoint, and you can see the fruits of their labor finally starting to bloom. And when you look back at people who were considered crazy back when boomers or the greatest generation was saying that Hollywood was brainwashing the youth, and the music and different things were debasing the culture and honor and loyalty and virtue, and propagandizing being a douchebag. They saw it coming. They were called crazy. They were called, wingnuts, lunatics. But take a hard look at what's going on today, 40, 50, 60 years on, and tell me that you think America is a better place for families. America is a better place for regular people than it was back then. I certainly don't think so. And maybe I'm just another one of those old fucking idiots who doesn't have a fucking clue. But again, if we don't do anything against these people and start voting them out of office, start demanding change, because it's not about making the right decision, it's about making a decision and taking action. Right now we're just sitting on our asses. If shit starts going down, there's nothing more important than making a plan and doing something, even if it's the wrong thing. The only way to provide certainty that you're going to fail is for you to fail to act. So I'm not telling you what to think or what to do, but I am telling you that you need to do something as an American that cares about this country, that cares about your children. Whether you're looking at the amount of debt that's being printed, debt has doubled since the event in 2020. We went from 18 trillion to 34. That's 2 trillion shy of doubling in 4 years. Let's double that in another 4 years. Now we're at 80. Double it in another 4 years. Now we're at 160. All within a decade of today, if we do nothing. Look at what's going on with China. Look at what's going on with AI. Look at how fast the world is changing. And it's changing on purpose, because the faster it changes, the harder it is for you to get your bearings, the harder it is for you to understand, let alone do anything about it. We, the American people, are being left behind by this new vision of the future, which is a techno-feudalist bullshit situation, which is going back to the land-owning lords in England. That was a feudalist society. Commoners couldn't own land and thus could never bring themselves up to any other station, because you need land in order to do something like have a business or something like that. If you can't own it, you have to rent it from someone else, and they profit off your labor, off your success. So if we return to a feudalist society where only corporations own everything, and you have to rent from them, you have to buy through them, you have to do everything through them because you don't own a goddamn thing, seems like we're going backwards, not forwards. We're not reaching enlightenment. We're reaching more and more barbarism and oppression. So if you want barbarism and oppression in a free country, you want to be lied to, then keep taking the blue pill, just like in the Matrix. The red pill's real dog shit to swallow. And that's a whole, I'm not talking about the red pill community. I'm just saying, wake the fuck up and realize that politicians are profiting on selling you out today, not tomorrow, not in the future. Right now it's happening. It's going to affect you within your lifetime if you're middle-aged like myself. And it's certainly going to dramatically affect the life that your children lead on this piece of land, whether it's this country or not. Who knows? Anyway, get out there and do something.